But the real difference in the ride between these two shoes is certainly the ability to pick up the pace. In today's shoe comparison review, we've got pretty much two super trainers up here. We've got this one that's been around for a little while, the New Balance SC Trainer V2, up against this one that's going to be released very shortly, the Neo Vista. But both these shoes are pretty evenly matched in the design department and also in the specs department. But before we get into it, a massive shout out to my #1 running store, The Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also for you guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So checking out a quick specs here, and as you can see that they are very evenly matched. So same price point in the USA at $180. I really hope that this Neo Vista isn't that expensive in Australia. But weight-wise, very similar weights here. Slightly lighter package in the Neo Vista. Can you feel that on the foot? Probably just a tad. It does feel like the lighter, more nimble shoe. Stack heights, very similar as well. Slightly higher in the Neo Vista. Does it feel higher? Yes, it does, and I definitely think that's down to the geometry. I cannot tell the difference in the drop in these two shoes because they're both very rocketed shoes. And in our uppers, so with the Neo Vista, so the material that they use here, it's a full stretch knit material. So all the one piece as well, so it's a booty design, there's no separate tongue. There's absolutely no padding in this shoe, but don't be alarmed, it's still a pretty comfortable shoe. There is no structure really in the heel counter there, as you can see there. We've got a really high Achilles flare and a really high part here where the tongue goes in. That's just to assist you getting your foot in. Cool little pull tab there as well. Now laces straight up and down the front of this booty design, but they weave through these cables. They've just got these cables sewn in each side of the foot, which is pretty unique. You don't often see that, but you barely need to use the laces on this shoe. The lockdown in this shoe is excellent, so no dramas, even though it has no padding in around the heel. It really locks you down around this midfoot here, so it's really nice and tight, really nice and snug there. Now the fit in this shoe, definitely in the length is true to size, but as I just mentioned before, it's a pretty snug fit, so especially around the midfoot here. So if you've got a big fat foot, you may have some trouble with this shoe. Build quality in the Mizuno is absolutely excellent, and this is just a really, really comfortable shoe. Now with our SC Trainer, so they use a more traditional type design here. So it's a engineered mesh. Now this engineered mesh is pretty light, pretty breathable. It's certainly more breathable than what you're gonna find in the Neo Vista. Heel counter wise, it's a pretty structured heel counter, so pretty solid here. It feels like it's got a bit of a cup. We've got a heel flare here, and they've got a generous amount of padding there in this shoe, so that feels quite nice. Now the tongue in this shoe, it's pretty thin. There's no padding on it, but it's a gusseted tongue. It doesn't move around. It's quite nice. Now the laces, pretty standard lacing system here by New Balance, just straight up and down the shoe, but the laces that they use on this shoe are incredibly long, so they're probably a bit too long, and you've got to tuck them in and so forth, or they're going to be flapping around all over the place. Now the lockdown in this shoe, still pretty good, no dramas there at all. Now the fit, true to size. It probably could be a tad long, but I'm going to say it's true to size. But it's got an incredibly roomy toe box, so very, very voluminous toe box. And you can see there, it's just got lots of material there in the toe box, so it sort of bags and sags up. And I know New Balance, it's actually happening to a few of their shoes. I know the brand new Rebel as well also does that. But comfort-wise, extremely comfortable shoe. Build quality, probably not as high as the Mizuno, but it's pretty good. So in our outsoles here, so you can see there are some similarities here just in the design concepts of the outsole. So with our Mizuno, so we've got full rubber coverage there, so anything that's hitting the ground has got rubber on it. Now this rubber compound is really soft, it's tacky, it's sticky, really good grip in the dry conditions. Durability wise, not so flash. Well, it's definitely not going to be the most durable rubber on the market. I've got a fair bit of wear signs here up the top of the shoe. I'm not really concerned about it. I don't think it's going to affect performance or grip at all, but it's really, really nice. You've got the exposed wave plate there through the bottom, and that huge cavity through the middle of the shoe. That obviously is just adding to the softness of the ride of this shoe. So it can just, this midsole can just squish squish it in and squish out as you land. It's obviously going to add to the stability element as well. And with our SC trainer, so you can actually see some similarities here. So they've got the rubber here on the high wear area, so they've got a bit of a horseshoe shape, so in the forefoot here, and also the high wear areas at the back, but they've also got this big sort of cavity through the shoe, and they've got their exposed carbon plate there, as you can see. Now the rubber on this shoe is certainly different. It's certainly a soft compound, but it's quite brittle. So you can actually, after each run, you can feel, you get like little bits of sand or little bits of tiny bits of dust, like rubber dust on your hands, but it breaks down quite quick, but it's nice and soft. It absolutely complements the ride. Durability, as I said, it's probably not the best rubber for durability, but it doesn't really affect the performance of the shoe. Now also on the outsole of the shoe, you've got plenty of exposed foam there, so you see through the middle there, and we've got a protective plastic cap that protects this carbon plate because it sits so low to the ground. And again, huge big crevice through the middle of the shoe, and obviously again that's adding to the ride of this shoe. Lets that foam really compress, it either squeezes in or squeezes out, and obviously that's adding to stability for the shoe as well. So midsoles, now Mizuno are using a brand new foam compound in the Neo. It's Mizuno Energy NXT. So I think this foam is a bit of a Peeber blend, but it's really, really soft, very nice. So we've got 2 layers of this foam. So we've got a top layer, and then under that layer we have got their glass fiber infused wave plate. So that's what you can see underneath there. It feels a bit plasticky, but it's a glass fiber wave plate, same plate that they use in the Flash 2. That gives the shoe some rigidity and helps it keep this rocker shape. But yeah, it's a pretty rigid shoe, so it's not as stiff as a carbon plate though. Then under the wave plate, they have got another layer of this NXT foam, which is just really, really nice. And geometry wise, so they have got the smooth speed assist geometry or technology in this shoe, and that's the shared technology. Same sort of concept of what they use in the Rebellion series, so the Rebellion Pro and the Flash, and that just gives it this really nice, or it's wacky geometry, certainly in the Flash and the Rebellion, so it's quite an aggressive heel bevel and a front rocker, but they've toned it down in this one. So this one, it's tuned down to normal running, which is really, really nice. Now in our SC trainer, so V2, so foam that they use here, it was, when this was released, it was a brand new version of their fuel cell. So the fuel cell always changes when New Balance bring it out. It's always different. But this foam, super duper soft. So I reckon it's the softest foam on the market. Still is. So again, 2 layers of this foam. So they've got a top layer. Then under that top layer, they have got a carbon plate. So this shoe is a little stiffer than what you're going to find in the Mizuno, and that's because a carbon plate is stiffer than a glass fiber plate. But yeah, pretty stiff shoe here, left and right, not much movement there. Now this carbon plate actually goes really close to the ground here, so there's not much foam in the forefoot between the road and the carbon plate, and that's why they need that little protective cap there. And geometry wise, yeah, they've got a 4-foot rocker here, so they call that their energy arc. So that's their carbon plate that's keeping the shape of this rocket shape, and that definitely gives you the rocket sensation when running in this shoe. Now in our ride, so with the Neo Vista, now this brand new foam is, as I said, it's just, if you've seen my other reviews, you know how much I love it. So this ride is buttery smooth. It's really soft without being squishy and sloppy. So there's a good amount of bounce, nice amount of energy return, but it's not overly responsive or snappy. So this rocker that they've got going, this shape, this geometry that they've got going with this shoe really just makes this shoe some enjoyable running. It's fun running. It's really efficient running. You just effortlessly ticks the legs over. This foam just takes all the pounding out of the road, gently rocks you onto the forefoot, and it's got a nice kickback and a nice energy return just to keep you rolling through the foot strike. It's probably one of the most comfortable rides that I've ever experienced in a running shoe. And it's also a pretty stable ride as well. So this big, nice, wide platform just allows this midsole display, and it's got a good amount of stability, keeping in mind how soft the foam is. So yeah, really nice ride here. Now with our SC trainer, so my first 100 Ks in this shoe, I was super impressed, and I had the same vibes as what I did about the Neo Vista. So when it was released, it was probably my favourite ride at the time that I had tested. So yes, it was buttery soft, very smooth, a good amount of energy return, good amount of pop, and a nice amount of roll forward on this rocker. Super happy with it for the first 100 Ks. However, this ride after 100 Ks, pretty much, the foam, it just like it gave way, like it flattened out on me. And then I lost all the energy return out of it. So it just got lifeless. So it still had that cushion, but it would just sink and it would give nothing back. So this foam, yeah, certainly is not going to hold up like the Neo Vista will, but certainly it can deliver a very similar ride. So still buttery soft, buttery smooth. So if you can get a version, maybe in a cooler climate, this foam might hold up a little more. But yeah, in the initial runs, yeah, nice and soft, buttery smooth, good amount of bounce and a good amount of roll forward. Nice and stable as well. Even though it's still quite squishy through the rear, it still didn't come across like a really unstable shoe. But the real difference in the ride between these two shoes is certainly the ability to pick up the pace. So the Mizuno is certainly easy to pick up the pace. It feels better at a faster pace than what the SC Trainer does. So this one to me still always felt sluggish. It didn't feel like it wanted to get over that steady pace. It was just a nice, easy day running shoe for me. It just felt, it didn't feel like it had any get up and go at all. So best use for both these shoes if you just didn't pick it up there. So the Neo Vista is going to pretty much handle anything that you can throw at it except for race. So I just wouldn't race in this shoe. It's a tad heavier. It feels amazing at a slow pace. Amazing when you pick up the pace. It feels really nice at that tempo pace. Can you do threshold workouts in it? You probably could, but it's maybe a little bit too heavy for that. But anything under that, it's fine. And this is an amazing long run shoe. Now with the SC Trainer, for me this one is just limited to your easy days and recovery days. So when your legs when you just need to save those legs because they've been bashed up from a long run the day before, or you do your second run of the day, your double run, now this is a good shoe for that. I do think the limit for this shoe is about an hour because this foam is going to break down, it's going to get too squishy and it's going to feel like that you're digging your foot out of sand. Right, and just to wrap it up here, so remember we've got two pretty similar shoes here, certainly in the design department. So they share lots of concepts, both got big soft stacks of foam, both got pretty aggressive rockers, both got a plate, so definitely both in the Super Trainer category. So for me, if I just have to pick one, I'm certainly going the Neo Vista, and it's pretty much just down to this foam. So this foam broke down far too quickly, it was far too soft, and you just couldn't do much in it. So it's perfect for your easy runs, but if you wore this for a long run, so after an hour, this shoe would start to get sloppy, it would break down, and then it would just be an effort to get home. Whereas this shoe, you don't feel that. This shoe holds its energy return, it doesn't get sloppy, it maintains its bounce, it feels great at easy, it feels great at fast, where this one's just limited to those really slow, easy recovery days. But anyway, guys, that is it from me. Interested to hear your thoughts on my comparison between these two shoes. If you've got any questions, please just drop them in the comments below. And again, thank you for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.